Hi, my name is Ashley Faulkner, and this is my major presentation project on virtual field trips. So you say there's no money for buses or admission fees, there's no time for travel, so why not take a virtual field trip? The web provides the resources, and you can provide the fun. Every day is a great day, rain or shine, to take a virtual field trip. So just what exactly are virtual field trips? Well, they're thought out pre-screened collections of thematically based web pages that we get offline. They're interactive forms and there's non-interactive forms, and that we can pre-select so that they can relate to the time or place or the unit that we're teaching in school. Virtual field trips started appearing around 1995, and they became more and more popular, especially around the year 2000, and we've been using them ever since. The virtual field trip experience is an excellent model of teaching strategies um, that they weren't possible before the advent of computers in middle school or any other grade level classroom. They benefit the students and families, schools, teachers, and communities. Teachers are lifelong learners, and virtual field trips give us a chance at the old paradigms about how we teach and how we learn. It's funny if you think of Eric Erickson, the way he finishes you off at the identity achieved level. We need to think again on that because throughout our lives we're reinventing ourselves and tinkering with our identity. Um, so this is a normal way as we grow and we move into the later stages of our development. Um, this is a time when we reflect on our choice of our life's work and rededicate ourselves to giving back and helping smooth the way for others to provide the encouragement and to hand out the tools to our students. Um, Virtual field trips is a way to help these students and even us as teachers alike make connections to the community and the world. And classrooms could also link up with classrooms around the globe to create a virtual exchange. For example, students could create a Hypers video stack that describes their school, community, state, and nation. And likewise, a school in Russia could create a stack describing their school, community, and nation. Um, these virtual field trips could then be exchanged via the internet so the students in each country could learn from, their global peers. Virtual field trips are, in this capacity, kind of can help to develop a class bond that offers a tangible product in which they can be proud of. Students creating virtual field trips can encourage them to see themselves as historians and savers of their local history. Lots of teachers who were studying their local heritage created virtual field trips and did this. Many of our online virtual field trips are interactive, meaning those students can pose questions to experts such as historians, scientists, politicians, and even astronauts. Some examples of online virtual field trips are I have listed here the Grand Canyon, NASA. That would be an awesome one to talk to an astronaut on the space station or even there at Houston. The National Zoo, the Hurricane Storm Center, um, different places in Washington, D.C., the Franklin Institute Science Museum. Um, just there's all sorts. There's a whole list of places around the world that students can participate in online or interactive on. Any teacher or student who is even remotely computer savvy can create a virtual field trip. It's as easy as taking a camera along when the class goes off on a regular field trip. They can take plenty of photos and upload them to their computer and add them to your class or school website. Then you've created a virtual field trip. Also, teachers may have opportunities to travel outside of the school day, vacations, other types of travel. Um, their travel to different sites or distinct locations can serve as a teachable moment back in the classroom for them. For example, there was a group of teachers that gathered in North Carolina that gathered at the coast to learn about the North Carolina coastal heritage. And these teachers took pictures of different sites and, culminated their experiences into a hyper studio field trip. The field trip was uploaded onto the web or the World Wide Web, and then it serves as an instructional tool for middle school classrooms across the state or across the world even, but mainly that state because it was on North Carolina's heritage. Another category of virtual field trips is the free field trip activity. I found lots of different activities and things we could include in our virtual field trips on different websites while doing my research for this project. The pre-field trip activity helps to prepare our students for the upcoming class field trip. So imagine that your students are planning, or your class is Lord help, we don't want the students planning any field trip. Imagine that your class is, or that you're planning a field trip for your class going to the nation's capital. So prior to your field trip, your students can review the sites that they'll be visiting. There are different sites that provide students with a map of the city and the option to take digital tours and to see those capital area landmarks, government buildings, and different places of interest. Using the information available on the site, that the students can decide how much time should be allotted for each place of interest and plan a walking tour of the city, so that they can get around, to see how much time it would take to go from place to place. Another suggested activity would be for students to use the virtual field trip and work in teams to write out a scavenger hunt. That's always fun for kids. They love scavenger hunts. Those scavenger hunts can be exchanged among teams and serve as a guide for the actual field trip. Using virtual field trips in this capacity, it kind of piques the students' interest in the upcoming class field trip and helps them prepare for their learning experience during the field trip. And it also gives the students a responsibility and a sense of control. There are several sites that can help you start planning your own virtual field trip. Here I have listed or hyperlinked my favorite one that I found. The internet holds hundreds and hundreds of virtual field trips created by students, teachers, government agencies, and others around the world. Using the virtual field trips on the internet enables students to make different connections with other students in the world who may share some of their same concerns, and this helps students appreciate different cultures other than their own. Another activity I found online regarding virtual field trips was the post-field trip activity. This virtual field trip should be designed to help students synthesize what they've learned on the class field trip. So what you would do prior to taking the field trip, you would assign each student a particular item to research. Then the student would be responsible for gathering information on their assigned topic and organizing this information for the rest of the class. For example, I mentioned earlier on this PowerPoint that you could visit the nation's capital. So Washington, D.C. students would be assigned different places such as the Vietnam Memorial or Lincoln Memorial or the Washington Monument, etc. During the class field trip, the virtual field trip, the student would take turns, or each student would take turns using, like, say, a digital camera you may have in your classroom to to photograph their assigned topic. Then once the class returns from the field trip, so to speak, each student could use the Hyper Studio to create a card, their Hyper Studio card, with the digital image and give a description of their assigned topic and what they learned. I guess depending on your familiarity or the students, how familiar they are with the software, the cards could be included in a digital image and then text or advanced options. That there's such of audio, video, animation, and testing items. You could throw it all together. Uh, then um, once that student has generated that field trip, once that has been created by your student or the entire class, they could view it, and then they can give a class presentation to other classrooms in your school, or even present it to other classrooms around the world. They could also upload it as you know, where other schools around the world, around the country, could see what they did. And so, doing this major research project, I found that field trips can be an opportunity for students to explore and see places, things, and people not normally seen on a typical classroom day. During a classroom field trip, or virtual field trip, the students can explore places all over the world, states across our country, and many nearby or faraway people, places, and things. This is an opportunity to see and experience the world without ever having to leave the classroom. Students may not ever get the opportunity to do such. Um, their virtual field trips, they're cost effective to schools by eliminating the cost of the transportation, the admission fees, the additional insurance coverage, and begging parents to be chaperones, which we know how hard that is. Teachers can explore many virtual field trip options through websites like Discovery Ed or Scholastic. Those were two of my favorites. I found a tremendous amount of information on the internet for planning virtual field trips geared towards just about any subject or unit of study. I found tons and tons of resources by typing in the search words virtual field trips for elementary learners. Then they had virtual field trips for middle school, secondary, etc. Um, lots of resources popped up under those keywords or search topics. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation.